So now you have a functioning community. How do you grow it, and what happens when you reach the community limit where you need to divide it like a cell to create more efficiency? Organizational and community events are the best ways to share your community and make it grow. This could be bringing others to a hands-on workshop or class, or doing something with another group or community. All events should be voted on. If an event is extra complicated, you may need to temporarily appoint an organizer to give marching orders, but you have to have members ready to follow through with those orders. Everyone should be involved with organizing the event. After an event, a debrief is a good idea to see what you all learned, what went wrong, and how to make it better next time. Record all suggestions and ideas for doing better. These will be voted on for the next event. Events should be organized to ensure people working them are not stressed or overworked, and everyone is pulling their weight. Thanks to consensus democracy, you all agreed to this, so make sure to put in as much effort as possible, but also scale things back as a group if you realize people are getting too stressed by it. The point is to have fun, and if you aren't having fun, then the point of this event was failed. Upon reaching the dividing number, a meeting must be held. Dividing the group can be a bit tricky, and the software toolkit I was making is not available and won't be for a year or two at this point, so I have included in the bottom bar a very rough Google Sheets template to help you divide your community based on interests, distance, communication styles, and group movement. The toolkit will be hopefully much more precise in the future when I can get it to work. You will notice interests are weighted as a 4, distance and communication styles are weighted as 3s, and community size and group movements are weighted as 1s. You can adjust this all you want. I'm sure I will change this in the future as well. It might be a good idea to ask people to fill these questions out when they start the group, to help decide where they want to go as a community. It is a quicker way to plan things if the votes are already automatically there. Then plug the answers into the roster table. It will be a good idea to everyone answer and update these again before a split, as people's preferences may have changed. While one group should usually keep the old focus and the new group should pick a different Solarpunk focus, that is not always the case. One could take the primary focus and the other could take the secondary, or if the way the community was split, neither could have the old focus and they could each have new focuses that came out on top. You can see in the bottom on a scale of 1 to 2 which group you would most likely be happy in. After the division rubric is run, this will be voted on the same way everything else is voted on. People can then vote on which group they wish to be a part of, especially if they're more in the middle of the two. People can vote for both, and a handful can stay in both groups. There should not be an overlap of any one group with more than 3 people unless they're family. There does not have to be an even split if only a minority of people are interested in the new focus. If there is not an even split and there are people with multiple preferences, after dividing who will be in the overlap, the people who are not in the overlap will be in the minority group. Overlap should be decided mostly by geographic distance. If no one wants to split focus, the group will be split based on geographic lines to reduce transit. Past hung voting results can also be used to decide geographic borders, which can then be adjusted in the document I shared. Once decided, if anyone wishes to swap group places in another in the group, cases can be made. If a person cannot make it to the new geographic location, they will be allowed to move to the old group, creating an uneven split. Both groups now have to create names to distinguish themselves from the other. Team, colors, and mascots are fun ways to create a sense of cohesion. While at this point it feels like a division, which has an emotionally negative connotation, cell division leads to cell multiplication, which can lead to more complex and efficient interconnected systems that can create something more from the whole than the sum of the parts. If you purposely aren't growing, you are stagnating, and it's quite possible you will die out over time. Group growth and division should be celebrated, as you can see the potential grow in the community and hopefully a global movement. In the next and last video on sustainable community, I will give a brief overview of my online toolkit I hope to make possible in the next year or two to make this kind of community as easy and seamless as possible. From here on out on the channel, I will be jumping around to the different points mentioned in the very first video, and they will be less frequent as I ran myself ragged to pump out this part as fast as possible, as no one is talking about this cornerstone of Solarpunk while every single other part has YouTuber communities dedicated to them. If anyone wants to contribute time or energy or voice talent or editing to discuss any of these topics at hand, reach out to me. I have been told by the kids these days that a Discord server is a very popular way to be engaged, but I don't know the first thing about that social media because I'm old and focused all my attention on learning about the free open source software social media fediverse platforms like Mastodon. I have roughly a decade of observing or organizing communities myself with both the skeptics community and the steampunk community and seeing what has succeeded and failed over a long period of time, as well as spending the last few years passively researching how a closer-knit community could work, especially looking into the co-housing movement, when for all the communities I've been in prior would have ended in disaster if we ever tried to be this interdependent on each other. You have been given all or most of the tools needed to start your own local community. It's up to you to make it happen. I hope this has given you ideas on how to actually cause real change in the world to save the planet, and has given you some hope that can direct that doomerism into actual real action.